Wage deferrals during COVID, you have to wonder, were they a smart compromise by certain football clubs such as Barcelona, or were they really a foolish way of kicking the can down the road? Because what has now emerged at Barcelona has brought them to a position of some frustration. We know that Frenkie de Jong is very much a Manchester United target, but his departure out of Barcelona, we understand this morning in Spain, is being delayed because he's owed over 17 million quid in outstanding wages and bonuses by Barcelona after he agreed to defer his wages to help the club during COVID. Now Barcelona are saying, Frenkie, not so fast to United.
Well, they are and they aren't. What he's obviously saying is, on the way out, I want what I'm owed. I've deferred 17 million.
Give me what I'm owed.
I want it now on the way out. Now, if we believe that Barcelona need money and need to be able to facilitate solutions to their current cash flow and current balance sheet problems, then 70 million is far greater than 17, isn't it? So they're going to get 70. So they're not going to turn away 70 million pounds from Man United on the off chance of deferring the 17 million for a period of time. They'll find a solution. So the bottom line is that at the time, Barcelona, because of the landscape of Spanish football, because of the change of the finances around the amount of money they could bring in because of COVID and the fact that their socios were paying so much money and they couldn't get them in the stadium and the revenues were down, and also they had to refinance their loans, and also the Spanish League decided that they were going to adjust salary caps to a point instantaneously that they all had to comply with.
They needed help. They needed help from the players, and Frenkie gave them help.
So they did. Well, what they did was they needed to find a solution to a particular problem. A, the obscenity of what they were paying these players.
That doesn't matter if they agreed to it.
But B, they took a solution which was for the benefit of everybody.
But De Jong made a decision. He said, I'll help you.
I will help myself. I will help you to help me, which is basically, you can either find yourself in a real Armageddon financially and not be able to pay us anything, or I'll defer a proportion of it where you meet the covenants you have with banks or you meet your refinancing obligations.
Which was a very fair offer by the player.
Which was a fair offer by the player to a solution that they all have a problem. If Barcelona can't pay his wages, he'll have as much of a problem as Barcelona have.
Because De Jong didn't have a problem when he said, sure, you know, defer my wage and I'll help the club. Now that was honourable by the player. Well, and you're always saying players don't do anything. Here we've got a player who did something.
If it was a cut, then I'd say, yes, that was wonderfully magnanimous of you.
It was a deferral.
If it's a deferral. If I'm Barcelona...
But did it help the club?
Well, of course it didn't. It helped the player as well. We are now in a situation
where... How did it help the player?
Well, because the player continued to be in a situation where Barcelona could exist. If Barcelona's very situation was existential, and we're talking about them in a situation where their finances were at a point where they couldn't pay any wages unless they got these deferrals.
But that wasn't the situation.
But clearly,
he says, "Don't pay me now, pay me later, and I'll help you."
No, that's not what happened. Barcelona.
That's a deferral.
No, a deferral is basically Barcelona saying we cannot meet our obligations, and if we have to be forced to meet these obligations, then we might find ourselves in an existential position, which means that ultimately no one gets paid anything. So here we are now. You help us to find a solution to our short-term problems, and we'll meet our obligations to you now and in the longer term. Now here's the point where it becomes inherently difficult. If Barcelona are seeking to disadvantage a deal in good faith by saying, you on the way out, you don't get your 17 million quid because you're off to Man United and you're going to get a bigger contract over there. Now, that wouldn't be right. If Barcelona are saying, actually, you're still going to get your 17 million quid, you're going to get your 70 million pound move to Manchester United, you're probably going to get an increased contract over there, and we want to pay that 17 million quid over the next 4 or 5 years, you're still going to get your 17 million quid. No one's going to go to the poorhouse. And if I'm the player, I say, right, tell you what, that 17 million quid, you're going to pay it to me, but I can't get it. What it sounds like the player wants is that 17 million quid that you owe me, I want it on the way out. And he's in his rights to say it.
Absolutely.
And Barcelona could then turn around and say, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We're not going to give you the 17 million quid on the way out. We're going to give it to you over a period of time, but we'll give you a bit of interest on top so we carry the debt for a period of time. What would be the problem there?
But at the moment, Barcelona aren't playing ball with him. De Jong extended his contract by 2 years to 2026. That allowed his club to spread the deferred payments over a longer period.
Barcelona extended his contract, I suspect, to be able to maintain
in
his
agreement with him and his player.
Yeah, I accept that.
And his agent.
I accept that. I don't accept it. I understand it.
But Sammy, the bottom line is this. You always say players do nothing. Yeah, it's always take. Here we've got a player who is offering. But
you're not giving me the full framework of the question and the subject matter. You're saying to me that at this moment in time, Barcelona are being incredibly unreasonable and saying that on the way out of this transaction, are they refusing to give him the 17 million quid?
He's pushing for what he's owed.
Right. And
you just said everybody's
And-
right to do
and
that.
we don't know if Barcelona... If I'm Barcelona, right, and I say to you, if you're a player and I owe you 17 million quid, right, and I say to you, look, I want to pay it over the next 5 years, but I'll give you 10%, I'd look at the market and go, I can get 1.5% in the market, or I can get 10% of my money from Barcelona. I'll tell you what, I'll let you pay me on the drip. But we don't know that conversation, do we? At this moment in time, what we have is a one-dimensional conversation, which is he's entitled to 17 million quid.
But this whole issue is delaying the move to Manchester United, clearly.
Well, is it and isn't it? Because if
He's saying, before I go to Old Trafford, pay me what you owe me.
Who wants? Okay, think about it logically. Who wants the deal more? Barcelona for the 70 million quid, or do they want to avoid the 17 million? Do they want the 70 million pounds from Manchester United, or do they want to muck about with the 17 million? Which has more benefit?
Simon, it all goes back to this. When they were in the grubber, Barcelona, they needed all the help they could get. De Jong, in his own sweet way, agreed to a wage deferral. Now he's quite rightly saying, before I go to Old Trafford, remember that money you owed me? I'd like it now.
But you're not, again...
And Barcelona are saying, let's kick the can down the road in this one.
First of all, if Man United is saying to Barcelona, we'll pay you £70 million over 5 years, right? We don't know that side of the deal.
All right.
We also don't know what Barcelona have offered Frenkie de Jong on the way out, which is basically saying, because sometimes on the way out with players, you turn around and say, well, I'm not giving you this because you're going over there. I've had deals with players where I said, well, you're not getting that sign-on bonus, or you're not getting that loyalty bonus because you want to go on a move somewhere else. So there's all kinds of discussions.
But what's wrong with taking the fee from Manchester United and paying De Jong what he's owed as he leaves the club?
But have you just listened to what I said?
But what's wrong with doing that?
If Manchester United are getting £70 million over 5 years... What benefit have Barcelona got from this transaction? Let's work it out. They're getting £70 million over 5 years. They're getting £14 million up front. They give all that £14 million quid to Frenkie de Jong. What benefit have Barcelona got from this transaction on today's balance sheet? Nothing. They've got no cash benefit out of it.
That's not De Jong's problem.
No, but you're talking about the mechanics. You asked me a question, I gave you an answer. What would be the problem with Man United getting that 70 million quid? Barcelona.
Here we have a player who bucks your trend of thought that players never do anything and never offer anything.
I've agreed that point. I've agreed with you absolutely.
Who's helped the club?
Prima facie, if the facts that I'm being confronted with is that this man out of goodwill deferred £17 million, and now it suits Barcelona to sell him for 70 million quid, and now they want to chip him on the 17 million quid. If I was in his shoes, I'd say, I don't think so. I don't think so.
There you go.
And I agree with that. But if the alternative argument is that it's a matter of principle, I'm leaving now, I want my 17 million quid. Well, actually, we'd rather defer that 17 million quid to have the cash flow. But what we'll do is we'll pay you some interest on that. Now, that's a different discussion, isn't it?
Do you find it difficult speaking through gritted teeth?
No, not because you think I've got a problem with the player. I don't. I just don't know the full length and breadth of the transaction to be able to say.
If you were De Jong, you'd be at Laporta's door like that. You know that money you owe me? I'll take it now before I join United.
I would. And I would exactly be there, because I think that's... If what we're being led to believe, at the goodness of his heart, this player deferred 17 million quid and it helped Barcelona, then I'd be doing exactly that. But if I was sat there and someone said to me, well, look, we want to take the maximum benefit of this 70 million quid because you're going to United, that suits you, right? It suits us to get 70 million quid for you, but also we've got this 17 million pound debt that we're carrying. We'd rather give it to you over a period of time and we'll pay you some interest on it. Is that a problem for you?
You must have been a nightmare to deal with.
Well, it depends how much you want to make the deal happen.
Yeah.
And clearly it's going to happen because Barcelona's need is greater for 70 million than it is to preserve 17.
Looking at the facts here, Simon, Barcelona cough up, give him what he's owed, and then get the deal done to United.
Well, but logic prevails. When we're sitting here debating it, do you think Barcelona are going to throw the baby out with the bathwater? We're going to avoid 17 million quid by giving up 70. They're not, are they? They're going to do a deal.
You would think not. You would think not.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.